This is Paul McGann, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast.
Five-ish Fangirls, I love you, and I'm one of the five-ish. In fact, I'm the biggest one of the five-ish. I am the Sixth Doctor Colin Baker, and I wish you all well. Have fun.
The tangents and squeak continue all the way to episode number 27 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. It's so hard getting straight answers out of people nowadays. Whatever happened to a nice cup of tea and a civilized interrogation? Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week by going around the virtual table and see who has joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Fort Pierce.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
This is Mitch in Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone. I actually remembered the intro this week. Yay!
Rachel is in Indianapolis, home of the Colts that just beat the Denver Broncos
Yay!
to go on to the AFC Championship, if you care about that sort of thing.
Yeah. We're one step away from the
sorry,
Super Bowl.
I just checked.
Yeah.
I just checked the score. I had to know.
Yeah. We are one step away from the Super Bowl. Hopefully,
I'm shutting up now.
Hopefully, when we record next week, I'll still be as happy as I am right now. But we'll see.
Rachel and I will be in a similar mood.
Yeah, depending on how next week turns out.
What goes down. So, stay tuned.
And Holly may or may not be in a good mood depending on how the Packers do.
Yeah.
Or it may turn out that our teams are all playing each other.
That would be funny.
So that's going to be an interesting...
We can only hope. We're still friends.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
We will not hold that against each other.
Friends.
Yes.
Anyways, so...
I have to say, I am pretty glad that none of my teams are in right now, I guess, between all you guys.
And Mitch is still in the corner going, what about hockey?
Yep.
Yes, on the hockey front, Canada won gold in the World Juniors.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yay, Canada!
Yay! Of course, I didn't follow the
is
World
something we can all
Juniors
agree
until the last 6 minutes of the gold medal game.
Hey, doesn't matter as long as the final score ends up that you guys won. That's all that matters.
Yeah. So Canada beat Russia 5-4 in the final game.
Nice.
Mad props
Good job
to them.
Mad props. There's something we can all agree on.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyways, we actually do have news this week. So life has finally started to pick back up in the news front. So let's jump straight into news with the unofficial kickoff of awards season. The People's Choice Awards took place on Wednesday. And like I said, pre-show, I think I'm the only one who actually watched it. But that is okay. World's shortest award show. It was only 2 hours. And I don't know if they edited it or timed it so that they only presented awards if the person who won was going to be there, so that way they could get through quickly.
They give a lot away off screen.
Yeah. And there were a couple times where somebody...
I found out Outlander.
Yeah, there were a couple times where somebody won more than one, so like if they won one, they're like, oh, and by the way, this person also won for this category. Notable winners include Robert Downey Jr., who won for Favorite Movie Actor and Favorite Dramatic Movie Actor. Chris Evans won for Favorite Action Movie Actor. And by the way, Chris Evans... well, let me get to this next one. Betty White won for Favorite TV Icon. And I bring that up, one, because Betty White is awesome. And two, Chris Evans had a Steve Rogers moment and escorted Betty White up the steps to the stage to accept her role. It was so sweet.
Chris Evans is very much like Steve Rogers.
He is. It was so sweet. I was like, oh, he's so Captain America. Look at him go. Boy Scout Award for the night goes to Chris Evans as well.
Yes.
So,
The casting department has chosen well, and this is just another in a long line of this proves it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, Big Bang Theory won for favorite TV show. Sorry to everybody who's a fan of Once Upon a Time. I like the Big Bang Theory though, so I was still happy.
I like the Big Bang Theory,
I
so
do too.
I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Castle won for favorite TV crime drama. And then Nathan Fillion won for the favorite TV actor in that same category, crime actor, I guess, crime drama actor. Outlander won for favorite cable sci-fi fantasy TV show. David Tennant won for favorite actor in a new TV series for Grace Point, which is about the only accolade I think Grace Point was going to get.
Probably. And I think The Guardian
Power of the Tennant Fangirls really is what got him that award.
Yeah. It is the People's Choice Awards.
The Guardian in the UK, their headline, I think it was The Guardian, correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the UK newspapers, the headline was, David Tennant wins favorite actor in a cancelled TV series. I had to laugh.
Yeah.
But, just backing up a little bit, I think Holly mentioned it, but it might have gotten lost in the Stana Katic? Anyway,
Kate Caddick, I've heard it both ways.
Yeah, she won favorite actress in a TV crime drama. So Castle swept that category pretty handily. So yay them!
And I think that's a couple years running for them with the People's Choice, and those three categories.
Yeah, and Outlander. It was funny. There was a lot of people going because Outlander beat Doctor Who and Game of Thrones. Everyone's like, "What is this Outlander show? And why did it beat? It must be pretty good if it beat Doctor Who and Game of Thrones." And I'm like, actually, yeah, it is pretty good. You should check it out. Although I'm sad Doctor Who lost, but I'm glad Outlander won. This is just the way.
I can see like how it's good, and I'm only 2 episodes in.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I'm starting book 4 pretty soon.
Yeah.
I'm reading books.
I have the first book on my waiting list at the library.
I should probably get back on the first book.
They're big books, but they're good.
They're big books.
I love big books.
There's this reading challenge, 2015 reading challenge, of like a list of like certain types of like books that meet certain criteria, and one of them is a book over 500 pages.
Outlander qualifies.
I think Outlander will be my selection for that particular item on the reading challenge.
I have that list.
Good choice.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent
I
choice.
have it saved.
It's somewhere. And then the last one.
Last but certainly not least to mention, The Flash won for favorite new TV drama.
Ooh.
So.
Woohoo! The Flash.
Yeah.
Yes.
No. And we'll post the link to the list of all the winners because there's way more than that because there's music categories and more TV and movie categories as well. So, but those are the ones we wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Those are the ones we care about.
Yeah.
That too.
That too.
Yep. That too.
All right, moving on to our next bit of news. Edward James Olmos to guest star on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Marvel.com has announced that Edward James Olmos will guest star on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when it returns from its winter hiatus. Olmos will play Robert Gonzalez, a character whose addition is said to instigate massive repercussions for director Coulson and his team. Edward James Olmos brings an amazing gravitas to any role he inhabits, something we knew we needed for Robert Gonzalez, his Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. executive producer Jeff Loeb in an announcement. When Olmos first appears on our series, everyone will have to take notice, including our favorite agents. Interesting.
Yes. And if you don't know who Edward James Olmos is, go watch
Stand and Deliver.
Miami Vice.
Yep.
Most people know him from Stargate, though. So.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where I know him from.
Yep.
Cool. Always good to get casting announcements.
Yes.
And
Indeed.
speaking of announcements, I cried this week.
I cried for you.
I cried tears. news.
I cried for
Because
you.
FanX announced that Matt Smith is coming, along with Karen Gillan, who was there last year at FanX. And I don't have tickets. Last week, yeah. And I don't have tickets, and I'm probably not going to get tickets unless I win one of their Facebook contests, which probably won't. But for those who are going to FanX, first off, you lucky dogs, I'm jealous. Second off, they are doing the Doctor Who Ultimate Experience, which I've heard of similar events at other conventions. With this is Matt Smith, Karen Gillan, and Billy Piper, Billy was previously announced. They are all going to have a big Doctor Who experience panel. It is going to be a separate ticketed event, which means if you have a FanX ticket, that will not get you in this panel. You have to buy a separate ticket
at Fan Expo.
Yeah,
it's like the special event at Fan Expo. You had to buy addition to your convention ticket. Except if you volunteer.
And I wonder if that's something that Matt or his representatives or whoever insists on, because there were a lot of people when this Facebook post went up, when they announced it on Facebook, and a lot of people were like, well, I already bought my ticket, and why are you making me pay again? I'm like, it's not I had to get on there and say, it's not the convention doing that. It's probably something with Matt or his representing agency or whoever, because I've heard him doing this before. So that's
let's see.
it's probably crowd control too.
Probably too. Yeah, I would guess so. Because he's only going to be there on Friday.
Yeah.
But Karen is going to be there Thursday and Friday, and Billy's going to be there Friday and Saturday, or is it the other way around?
Well,
anyway, I was just looking at
Karen have a busy weekend because
yeah,
Karen's Thursday, Friday, Salt Lake, Saturday, Sunday, Walker Stalker Con in San Francisco. And Matt's
I saw that.
A similar thing, but with less days. He's Friday, Salt Lake, Saturday, Walker Stalker.
Yeah.
And
I saw that. And I
believe that there is also involved special ticketed event at Walker Stalker called Night of the Doctor.
Yeah. So that all makes sense. But
it's probably something to do with Matt Smith's publicity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's just a thing they do, and that has nothing to do with the convention. So people who were complaining against the convention organizer, it has nothing to do with them. So, but it's cool. Matt's going to be in Salt Lake. I probably wouldn't even be able to catch him in a hotel, like stalking the hotels anyway, even if he's probably going to be in, out, and gone, I'm sure. But
yeah,
everybody enjoy. And then one other guest that was announced, I think this week, that has nothing to do with Doctor Who, but I was excited about is Stephen Ewan. I hope I say his name right. He's mostly known for Walking Dead, but he was also the voice of Avatar 1 in Legend of Korra, and that was like 2 of the best episodes that series gave. And it was a really cool character. So anyway, he's going to be there, and I'm still super jealous of everybody going to FanX because I can't go. One of my coworkers is going, and she asked me if I was going. I'm like, nope, I'm actually filling in for you because you're going. And she's like, oh. But she had to miss the last Comic-Con that I got to go to. So I was like, you know what? It's all good. So anyway, convention news. Enjoy FanX, people. If you're going and you have a report and you're...
I'm just saying that according to the blurb they have in the news, Matt's only going to be there for the the ultimate experience.
Yep. Yeah. Although they did say it is listed on here on the master schedule where they have like prices for autographs and photo ops that Matt will be doing autographs and photo ops. They're $100 a pop, but they're there. Probably, again, because he's only going to be there for a very limited time.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're going to be part of the
part of the
ultimate experience or something. I don't know how it goes.
I don't. Well,
Bitch, didn't you go to the one at Fan Expo?
I volunteered and helped manage the line, and therefore got in free. And there was photo ops afterwards as part of that.
Okay,
at Harper.
That's
Okay,
probably going to
probably
be
what
it,
was.
because
But I think only for people who like there was only for people who got the highest ticket tier, I think. So it was like, and that was limited
That
to
would make
50
sense.
people, and it cost $700 for that tier.
Yeah. Just, whew.
I love Matt, but not that much.
Yeah, I was looking at these prices. I'm like, well, I wouldn't be able to get his autograph anyway. I don't have $100 to spend on that. I'd be going down at the lower tiers.
Okay, his autograph at Fan Expo was $110, right? So on the face of it, it looks like he's charging less at Fan Expo, but actually, because of the currency exchange, he's actually charging about $8 more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would make sense.
For at Fan X.
Yeah. Yeah, just good business, as they say.
Yeah.
So anyway.
$100 translates to 118 Canadian dollars. So.
Yeah, we know our dollar sucks. We're not going to get into that.
Nope.
Although I have heard rumors that there is going to be, or possibly going to be, another Doctor Who announcement at FanX, which I don't know how you can top Matt Smith and Karen Gillan and Billy Piper unless you
especially
add,
this
like, David
this
Tennant
Add Arthur Darvill or something.
oh yeah,
or
and-
Arthur Darvill. Someone did mention Arthur Darvill.
I mean, the fact that they're
in the
still
area.
making announcements and the con is in
He's
what, like
also
2
at
weeks?
Walker Stalker Saturday, Sunday. So
Yeah, I saw that.
unless he's working, it would make sense for him to join Matt and Karen at Fan X.
Yeah,
Yep. Could very well be.
yeah.
But yeah, they were making they've made, like, the night before big announcements. Like the first Comic-Con, they announced Stan Lee the night before Comic-Con started. Like, I was sitting here and recording my Comic-Con preview and just kind of flicking through the website and the Facebook posts, and it was like, look, Stan Lee, and I was like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, as I was recording for Traveling the Vortex to do a bit of a convention report. I didn't get to meet Stan. I didn't get to go to the Stan Lee panel. I would have loved to have gone, but it was just like one of those, holy cow.
Yeah.
It just dropped. Like, there you go.
Yeah.
So yeah, that doesn't surprise me. They're still announcing stuff.
Yeah. Maybe that means hope for me for the conventions coming up then, if they're gonna. People are deciding several weeks before to make an appearance, I guess. So.
Or it's just that they have them lined up, but they just haven't announced it because they like to spread it out.
Mm-hmm. Although my wallet, I don't think could take many more announcements.
Yeah, I think, I'm a part of me's glad I can't go to FanX because I'm like, there's no way I'd be able to get all the autographs and stuff I want to do.
Yeah, really.
So I'm going to save my money for next September.
Oh dear, this year's Fan Expo is going to be happening on my brother's birthday, like starting on my brother's birthday.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if they're accepting volunteers yet.
I'm sure that they are, or they will soon.
That's
what I need to
do. It's still showing stuff for
last year.
Yeah. Well, the how do I volunteer thing at the bottom of it says 2014 registration is now closed.
Yeah.
So
if you were thinking
for 2015 yet.
Yeah. So if you were thinking of volunteering,
once I know it's up, I will apply again.
Yeah.
Because hello.
Yeah.
It's
free.
Free admission.
Free.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Yeah, I signed up to volunteer at the one at mine in June, but I still haven't heard anything back.
Yeah. Oh, the trials and tribulations of going to conventions.
Well, I didn't hear back for Fan Expo till like July, and it's in August, so
okay,
I wouldn't worry that you haven't heard back.
Yeah, if it's in June.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. See, we keep y'all.
And the interview in June, I think, and then put out acceptances in July, and then send out acceptances in July.
Yeah.
For the August convention. So
Excuse me.
I wouldn't worry.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess if I don't hear anything by June, then I'll start walking.
Yes.
It's at like the
Yeah.
I don't know when in June, but it's in June.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, if you haven't heard anything by the month of the convention, then you should start to worry, but not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I feel like I need the
can I
milk
say
now,
something?
you know.
Say something. Guys were talking about last minute announcements, and I just lost what I was gonna say. But next week is the other convention down in Florida, and they announced Robbie. Let me get back to the page. Robin Hood.
Oh,
Robin Hood.
Sean McGuire?
No, he was already announced. Peter Pan.
Robbie K?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Just
Robbie
announced him
K.
today.
Funny thing is, Robbie K is, like, unofficially adopted into the McGuire household.
Yeah.
That's why, because he... Yep.
They joke about it on Twitter. It's funny.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh, I did not realize he was in Pirates.
Everybody's been in Pirates.
Apparently, he was the kind
I
of
think it's
boy...
a prerequisite, is you have to have been in
They
Pirates.
just kind of... Anyone wandering onto the set, they just kind of say, "Hey, you, come here.
Yeah.
You be in this scene."
Yes.
Want to be an extra for
Shall we move on?
Yes.
Yes.
Moving on. The CW has renewed 8 shows, including The Flash, Arrow, and for me, Supernatural. So,
Yay!
like, other
See,
shows include Jane the Virgin, The Originals for its 3rd season, Reign, also 3rd season, The 100, season 3, and then Vampire Diaries for season 7, and then Flashes for their 2nd season, Arrows for season 4, and Supernatural for season 11.
Holy Toledo.
Wow.
Now, I didn't realize The 100 was on their 2nd season, because I've only just started hearing about them, so I thought they were a brand new thing, but...
Yeah, that's me too. I thought this was like I started hearing about it this year too. And I'm like, oh. Weird.
Yeah, I
News.
think I knew that it was on its 2nd season, but I only really heard about it this year, and then like he was saying stuff about like that it was returning for a 2nd season.
All right, then. Well, good for them. Now we need to hear if The Librarians is going to get a season 2.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. 'Cause it's a really good show.
It is. And it's over next week for the season.
I know, because they're doing a double feature, a double episode tonight, or double episode tonight, and then 2, and next week, and I'm like, way to go, guys! Just burn through all that stuff. But apparently TNT's basketball schedule starts up, so they had to get it out for that.
That's part why.
Anyway, I was reading John Rogers' blog, who's one of the producers, and he does a little Q&A thing every week with fans, and you leave a comment asking thoughtful questions, and he will answer them. And people were asking, about various things about getting picked up for 2nd season, and they just said, we're still waiting on that. And I'm just kind of like, what are they waiting for? So anyway, sorry to tangent there.
Yeah. That's what we do best.
That's what we do best, indeed.
All right. Ready for the last one?
Yep.
Go for it.
All right. The last news, but not. No, sorry, my computer backed it up. All right. Captain America Civil War is to begin shooting in April. The stage is set for Captain America Civil War, and according to co-star Anthony Mackie, it would be a global one. By promoting his new movie Black or White alongside his castmate Kevin Costner, Mackie provided an update on the highly anticipated sequel, comic book movie reports. We start shooting in April, Mackie said, so it's going to be a lot of flying and fighting for about 5 months, and I'm not mad at all. Who wouldn't be?
Yeah, really.
who would be? What? You know what I meant.
Yep.
Yep.
When Costner inquired where filming for the movie would take place, Mackie replied, Puerto Rico, Berlin, and Atlanta. Captain America Civil War would pick up where Marvel's Avengers... I can't read. Marvel's Avengers Age of Ultron leaves off, which we have no idea where that's going to leave off yet. The collective governments of the world passed an act designed to regulate all superhuman activity. This polarizes opinion amongst the Avengers, and Captain America were forced to conflict against former allies. Captain America Civil War opens in theaters May 6, 2016.
So I've got a question.
Yes.
This says Civil War picks up where Age of Ultron leaves off. Well, where does that leave Ant-Man in all of this jumble?
I'm assuming Ant-Man will probably be like Guardians of the Galaxy, where he'll probably fold him in eventually.
Oh, okay. Because
So.
I was like, but wait, Ant-Man's in there somewhere. Wasn't he an Avenger? I don't know.
Well, he is. In fact, the original Ant-Man helped form the Avengers.
Yeah, but apparently this is not the original Ant-Man.
No.
Because Screen Junkies had a video and they were talking about like Ant-Man in the comics and the different ones and which one went where. And so apparently this one in this upcoming movie is like the second Ant-Man. It's not Hank Pym, it's somebody else.
Well, Hank Pym is in the movie though, but it's the second generation Ant-Man as how it appeared in the comic books. Hank Pym was the original Ant-Man, and then they brought in this guy who's going to be Ant-Man in the movie. So there's a whole like multi-page article explaining the origins and all of that in the most recent issue of Entertainment Weekly. So
Got it.
Yep. So
I know it had very little to do with Captain America and filming, but I just had to wonder that because I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. But now it does, so we're good.
Yeah, and we do now have the full. I don't know. I thought I'd put it in the news, but I guess I hadn't. That we did get the full size trailer, human sized, full audio, like 2-minute and some odd second trailer for Ant-Man. So. You can
get that.
You can watch
and
that.
The best line is it too late to change the name?
Yes. I laughed so hard.
Because it is so a nod to people going like, Ant-Man, it could be kind of a corny, cheesy, stupid superhero, but, Marvel's been very good kind of being tongue-in-cheek with this, and so, like, when you say it's sort of like Guardians of the Galaxy where they're going to fold it in later.
Yeah.
They're doing these things with some of their lesser-known characters. It's like they're kind of like saying, okay, yeah, the audience is going to be looking at this going, okay, what are you thinking here? And so the movie actually acknowledges, it's a little silly, but we're still going to go with it. So, and that is one thing about Marvel that I really appreciate is like they're serious, but not overly serious.
Yeah.
I mean, Batman still is a grown man dressing up as a bat.
Yeah.
Running around the town.
Yeah.
DC.
Spider-Man is wearing red and blue spandex, it's like...
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. So. Alrighty. Well, that's it for news. Still a bit lightish on the news, but, it's still early in the year. We're working our way up to it. So,
yeah. People are coming back from
breaks
holidays and colds and stuff.
Yep. So, and we started off the new year, moving on to our topic du jour. Unless you've been living under a rock, which hopefully you haven't, we had the premiere of Agent Carter.
Yes.
Last week, which Oh my goodness. So good.
Yeah,
So,
I love it.
So good.
Seeing the costuming, my gosh.
Oh.
The costuming is amazing. Like, I want Peggy's red hat and blue dress ensemble.
Her wardrobe.
Yeah.
Her whole thing, yeah. It was all really good. Now, I'm gonna just kind of jump in here real quick. I was a little confused, and I think it kind of hindered my. I loved it. It was good. It was great.
Yeah.
But it kind of hindered my complete enjoyment of the episode because I thought that this came after the Marvel one-shot Agent Carter, but then I was informed that this actually is before the one-shot that they had on, was it like Iron Man or Captain America, Blu-ray, Thor? I can't remember which one it was on. But because I saw that one, and that was sort of, the beginning of S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything, and I was like, okay, cool, they're going to start this, and then this episode starts, I'm like, but she's still just, the glorified secretary, and Howard Stark is, he's run off, and what is this? I don't get it. And so I was a little bit confused going through this whole thing. But now now that I figured out, oh, this is before all that, I'm like, okay, now we're good.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because you mentioned that, because I had a similar conversation last night after we finished our Marvel with Friends, because you have that end scene where Tony Stark comes in and is talking to General Ross, and my husband was like, well, this doesn't make sense. Why would Tony be talking about the Avengers Initiative? And I had to pull out that timeline that somebody did showing where all it broke down the movies in parts and showed how everything happens in real time chronological order from several thousand years ago to now. And I was
isn't it like Fury's Big Week or something?
Yeah, it's Fury's Big Week, and I'm like, well, it's because of the way that the movies came out. Tony's talking about the Avengers Initiative because the events in Thor and Iron Man 2 have already occurred. We just haven't seen them yet.
Wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey.
Yes. Wow. So this is kind of the same thing.
Which
it's
we get.
It's like Marvel, for the most part, they've been really good about releasing things, and you can see how they click together, but every now and then stuff gets released, and it's not in proper chronological order, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, so I was a little confused, and I was a little bit like, okay, I thought this was going to be something different, so I wasn't disappointed, and I don't want to sound like I hated it or didn't like it or anything, but it was just not quite. Now, I haven't gone back and watched it a second time, so I want to do that now that I know that, but just the first go around, I was just kind of like, I don't know that I like this so much. I like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. This is good, but I'm working on it, but now I think I got it.
Yeah.
Oh, Jarvis was a delight.
Oh yes.
I mean, he's like.
Yeah. So we should probably back up a little here. So if you've seen the one shots, then you've seen the one with Agent Carter where she goes on the mission when nobody else is around, and then Howard Stark calls her and is like, I want you to help build S.H.I.E.L.D. But this actually takes place before that, where it's right after the end of the war, and all the guys in uniform are coming back and taking their jobs back, and all the women have to go figure out what they're gonna do now post-war, because during World War II we had women repairing boats and working in the factory. We all know about Rosie the Riveter and all that. So Peggy goes from working in the field with Captain America and Howard Stark to not. She's still working for the SSR, but she's been delegated all the way back to just being a secretary. Yeah. And in the meantime, Howard Stark, hit with being the genius, billionaire playboy philanthropist. I wonder where Tony gets it from. All of his toys, all his inventions get stolen, and the SSR is convinced that Howard, I keep saying Tony because Tony's so much like his father, Howard is a traitor and a turncoat to the United States, and has been selling his stuff to, like the communists and whatever Nazis are left and all that.
And that courtroom interview scene with Stark Sr., I was just like, where have I seen this before? Oh, yeah. Iron Man 2.
I know.
Yeah.
I watched that.
I know.
It's,
like father, like son.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know. I'm waiting. I'm sure the gift set is out there. I just haven't seen it yet. But I want a gift set with Iron Man 2 and Agent Carter. Those scenes just going side by side because that is just perfect. I mean, Dominic Cooper is awesome as Howard Stark. I love it.
Yes, he is. So Howard calls on Peggy and convinces her to help track down whoever it is that stole his stuff, plus the stuff that's been stolen, and try and help clear his name. And he takes off to wherever, and in the meantime leaves his butler Jarvis at Peggy's beck and call. And Jarvis he's like your stereotypical English butler, where he's like, tea. I was like, I'm going to make some tea. I got to do the wash. I've got to, the florist comes at 11 to bring the fresh flowers. And Peggy's calling him Peggy's calling him late at night saying, I need you, I need a getaway vehicle. And he's all like, well, my wife is expecting dinner. And Peggy's trying to convince him that, life and death takes over your wife wanting her evening tea. And it's hilarious. But they butt heads, but it's funny. And you can see that there's a bit of a friendship growing there. But, Peggy is for that time period, she's a modern woman. She knows what she wants. She's not afraid to ruffle feathers, but she knows when not to. She knows what power she has as a woman, and her potential sexual prowess, I guess, and using that in her favor. Like, she goes undercover at one point and she dons a blonde wig and flirts and dances and works her way into getting into this guy's safe, and she knows that she's underestimated by the other men in the SSR, but she doesn't care.
Well, I think what I love about this is that it's true to history about the role of women in the 1940s and things like that, and it feels like Peggy is savvy enough to use that to her advantage. It's not that she doesn't care. She just, she uses the fact that she is underestimated and that she slides under everybody's radar to get things done. And I am like,
when she was applying for that apartment, she said that she was asked how long she plans to live there, and she says till she's married, which she's not planning. I don't think she plans on getting married. So, that's another of using people's assumptions about, like, people's sexist assumptions about her.
Mm-hmm. Well, that one scene in the diner with that one guy that came in and would harass the waitress that Peggy was friends with, and her subtly telling him, I suggest you find another place to eat and tip generously.
Yeah, well, she does take a fork and stick it at his side, and she claims that if she pushes hard enough, she could bust an artery or whatever, and
copious amounts of blood and all that.
And he'll die within 90
seconds.
If he doesn't get help.
Yeah. So she knows who she is, and she's not afraid to use what skill set she has, which is awesome. So, yeah, it was funny because, leading into it, I know I hadn't really paid that much attention to what people were saying before it actually aired, but I know Brittany had said something about she saw some things where people were already panning it, and but from what I've seen post-airing, that it's been well received by pretty much everybody. So, which is good, and it had as good a rating or better ratings than the premiere of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, I did see that the ratings were better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was either it was better than season 2 or season 1. I can't remember what exactly, but it was that they were better.
Yeah. Yep. So that's cool. So, but I'm intrigued because this is not going to be a full on series. It's only 7 episodes, or is it 7 episodes or 7 weeks? Because we had 2 episodes already.
7 weeks. I thought they said 8 episodes.
Okay. So, because we got 2 episodes already, back to back. Mm-hmm. So I was like, is it 7 episodes or 7 weeks? And 8 episodes. So, but that, either way, it's going to be a short run. It's not going to be a full TV series. It's more like a mini series. And it'd be interesting. I'm interested to see, first off, if they can keep this character development going, which I really think they can, because Marvel's just been really good about, writing their characters and getting the character development there so that people will accept them, I guess, and see where they're going. But to also see if this whole mystery, if this will end up playing into stuff we see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or I would assume so, though. But just how well this may tie into the cinematic universe. Because the whole idea is that there's this, apparently this person or organization that wanted revenge on Howard, and that's why they stole his stuff, and was trying to slander his name. And Peggy keeps encountering, this person that works for this person, but then that person worked for somebody else, and all she has right now is a name, Leviathan, which I'm still not sure if that's an actual person or the name of an organization or the code name for something that's going to happen down the road. Because, this first thing, the first piece of technology that she went after was a formula that Howard had come up with that could create a very strong explosion similar to an atomic bomb. But what it would do is it would explode and then implode and suck everything into like a giant ball.
It was kind of like, it reminded me a lot of like special effects you see as what are they called? Black holes.
Yes.
Like that you see in the movies. And I'm trying to think, there was another one, and I want to say it was a Marvel movie, but it wasn't like Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was either it was Spider-Man 2. Okay, wait, I'm not getting this right. I want to say in Spider-Man 2, and they had that great big sun thing that Doc Ock was working on. It kind of looked like that, but not really. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Because they drowned that thing. Never mind.
Yeah.
But
well,
it's like an imploding.
Yeah.
Like it sucks it all in, and it.
Well, it also kind of reminded me of. I'm blanking on the name now. That material. It was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the first season.
Was it the same stuff that
the silvery substance, and it ends up exploding and sucks the scientist in with it. I'm totally blanking on the name now at the moment. The material, but yeah, a black hole is kind of a good way to explain it as well, because she encounters a small vial of it, and it was so funny because she gets into this guy's safe, and she opens it, it's glowing, and her reaction, it was so funny because she's like, "Crikey O'Reilly!" It's like it's like the verbiage that you're used to for like comic books of that era, where they're like "jeepers" and
oh yeah,
saying things like that. But she manages to neutralize that small one in her bathroom, of all things.
And I have to say, photos on the lock-picking device.
Yeah.
That was nice tech.
Yeah. She's got some really cool tech. She's like James Bond, kind of. And,
well, she's like MacGyvering the potion. I don't want to call it a potion, but the formula in her bathroom with like just random stuff that she has in her house to neutralize the glowy explodey thing that I can't remember what it's called now.
Yeah. There are a lot of this is probably going to happen quite a bit, that they're going to throw out the names of like random pieces of technology and they're going to expect us to remember it or something.
And you're like, what?
I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's like the thing, the glowy thing, the exploding thing. But yeah, she manages to MacGyver and all that, but then she ends up finding out that there's a whole lot more of it that's already been manufactured, and it's on a milk delivery truck of all things. Yeah. But she ends up taking down the guys driving the truck, and unfortunately dies before she can get really any more information out of him. But it ends up exploding and takes out a whole chunk of area and leaves a mess. And it's she's trying to do this for Howard, because as far as she knows, Howard is a lot of things. He's arrogant and somewhat chauvinistic and a bit of a flirt too, but as far as she knows, he's not a traitor to the United States and all of that. He was working on their side during the war. But she knows that the SSR can't know that she's doing this, because her superiors are on the manhunt for Howard and trying to bring him in, because they're convinced that he is a traitor. So she's having to do this all on the down low. And there were a couple times where she almost got caught when she was disguised as the blonde. A photo was taken of her while she was at this nightclub. But thankfully she turned her head, so all the photographer got was the back of her head, and she was wearing a blonde wig anyway. And then a couple times where she goes to, interrogate someone, she almost gets caught, as her male SSR counterparts are on the same trail, but 2 steps behind her. But and
then when they did the scanning thing with tech that she had stolen,
yeah,
and it's like, oh, because Peggy thought her cover was going to be. I was like, no, we need you to scan the female workers. We'll handle the males.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's trying to do this, and then she gets into situations where she's with, either at the SSR office or like when she was at the factory, and they're scanning the factory workers, trying to figure out if there's a spy working in the factory, because the guy that owns this factory was friends with Howard, but they had a falling out because Howard tried to buy his factory and he wouldn't sell, and now he's convinced that Howard is trying to destroy him. But then they spook one guy and he takes off running, and Peggy's like, she could have easily taken off and probably taken the guy down faster than any of the other guys from the office, but she can't do that because that she'd be possibly blowing her cover, for one, and two, she just knows that's she knows that she has to maintain a certain look and opinion about her with these guys. But she ends up going down the stairs and grabbing a guy's briefcase and knocking the guy in the stomach. And the guy falls to the ground. She's like, "Anything else, sir? Or can I go back to the office?" Which is funny. But it's just the whole thing. It's like I was watching it, and it's so. It was a 2-hour premiere. We got the first 2 episodes back to back, and both of them went by so quickly. like, I never really felt bored. Like, okay, when is something going to happen? Like, the next thing I know, like, the credits are rolling and they're saying, another episode's coming up. I'm like, but it's only been 5 minutes.
Well, it's that. It's Marvel doing what they do best. I mean, they do that perfect blend of, okay, here's action and adventure and all that stuff blowing up and whatever, and then it's also she stops to, because at one point the bad guys come in. One of the bad guys comes into her apartment and he kills her roommate, and she like has time to mourn and to grieve, and you kind of feel like she never really got a good opportunity to mourn losing Steve Rogers.
Yes.
And everything's just happening so fast around her, and she just doesn't have time to stop and think. And then this is like maybe very possibly the first time that she can actually stop, and everything just sort of hits her. And now she's Steve is gone, and Howard has entrusted her with this, and he's gone off somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Her work is putting her people that she cares about in danger. She believes in her work, and it's important to her, and she doesn't have any real support. I mean, Jarvis is there, yes, but he's the butler.
Yeah.
And she's doing everything she can, and she just breaks down, and it's a very human moment, one that I think Marvel is really good at. And that was one thing that I really liked about Iron Man 2 is when it kind of shows, and Iron Man 3 is like after when Tony goes through all these different things, or he's going through stuff, like he is an actual human being for all that he tries to play it off that he's indestructible and everything. He's really not. And Peggy, same thing right here. She's kind of going through, saving the world is you don't come out emotionally unscathed, and it's a hard thing you have to do for all these people, and you don't just bounce back from it. And I really liked just that little moment, and it felt right and it felt good with all these things just kind of swirling around her.
Mm-hmm. Very well said. Well, and I think with hopefully with time, again, we're only getting 8 episodes or so, that there was a moment towards the end of I think the second episode where she's lamenting to Jarvis about how everybody I get close to seems to get killed, and Jarvis is trying to tell her, you can't, one person can't carry the weight of the world on their shoulders, and she's like, well, Steve did. And Jarvis is all like, well, from what Mr. Stark has told me, Steve relied on you. And you were his support. Both you and Howard were his support. And that's why it seemed like he was able to do anything and be anything. And, now it's her turn to get support from Howard. And trying to carry all the responsibility on her shoulders. And I thought that was very touching, and I hope that we get that there's enough episodes that we can get more of that character development, and that Peggy can open up, and she kind of does at the end. I mean, she does. The waitress at the diner that she frequents was trying to convince her to go get an apartment in the apartment building that she lives in, and she didn't want to because she thought that she potentially would bring in some nefarious people like she did in the apartment she was living in. And when she got her roommate ended up dying because she was in the apartment when this guy broke in. And I think Peggy is hesitant about going somewhere else and potentially having that happen again. But at the same time, her other option was staying in the apartment wing or whatever at Stark's place. And she was like, well, I don't feel comfortable staying here either. And then she sees the room. She's like, well, maybe one night. But she does eventually, the waitress does convince her to go and apply for an apartment at the building that she's living at. So I think that Jarvis's words probably at least broke through to her a little bit. But at the same, yeah,
I was gonna say that was one thing I really appreciated, because the other thing that I kind of felt was a little off, and maybe this is just because I wasn't sure where this all fell, was like, I was like, why is Peggy trying to do everything by herself? Like she understands. I mean, she's worked as a team with other people, and she's worked, and I understand that the guys that she's working with are not very team oriented, especially with her. And I'm like, but I just would love to see her, have that support and have somebody, to have her back, and that she doesn't have to do it all by herself. So I love that little bit with when Jarvis, basically says, this isn't, you don't have to do everything on your own. And I, don't remember the exact quote, but it was all, and I was just like, okay, yes, that's the Peggy Carter I want to see, because you can't do everything. Like, you can't do everything on your own. And I think that's, that was a lot of what, the Avengers has been about, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. especially. Like, it's a team effort. It's, everybody doing their part and doing what they can do. And maybe that's just because that's the sort of thing I like to watch, is like, I like to see like all these different personalities come together and learn how to gel and to do this. And I'm like, okay, and I know that this to have this spotlight, but I also don't want her to do it all on her own, because that just seems like a lot for one person to take on.
Exactly. So, and we see the friendship between her and Jarvis growing. Obviously, there's that companionship and friendship and relationship that she has with Howard, although Howard shows up and then he literally almost drives off into the sun. Well, not quite drive on the sunset. It was already dark, and it was on a boat. He
off into the
puttered
horizon.
off into the darkness. But things may not be all as they appear to be, though, because we do have a after Peggy goes on her first fact-finding mission or whatever, you see Jarvis on the phone with Howard, and is telling Howard that, I think you made a good choice, and Jarvis says something along the lines of, I don't think she'll suspect a thing. And it's like, oh, what are they hiding from her? And you kind of see in the promo for the next episode that Peggy finds out something and goes off on Howard because he makes a return, but there's something there that they haven't told her, and it's probably not going to be as bad as we maybe assume, but at the same time it's like, oh, because there must be a Stark thing or something, because in the promo Howard's all like, I was trying to protect you, and it's all I could think of was Tony in Iron Man 2. He was going to tell Pepper that he was dying, and he made her an omelet, and it didn't work, and then he ended up not telling her, and
it's totally a Stark thing.
Yeah,
they're just that way.
Yeah. So you're like, oh, but at the same time, it's like, she's still probably going to be doing what she's doing, and we'll get some more excitement and action and intrigue and all that. And I saw, I don't know if you guys, if you saw the promo for next week's episode. That it looks like we're going to see the return of the Howling Commandos. I caught a glimpse.
That.
I caught a glimpse of at least one or two of them in one of the shots for the promo. I'm like, yes, Howling Commandos returns. So that's always good. Yay. So it's nice that we're still getting those tie-ins to what we've seen in the movies. The first episode starts with Peggy remembering the end of Captain America and Steve telling Peggy he's got to crash the plane into the water so that this thing explodes, that it won't harm anybody, and Steve telling her that he's going to be late for their their date to go dancing. And I know Brittany was all like, man, really? As far as the feels. It's like, we're really going to bring that back up. But, you know, it's one, it's good for people that maybe have not seen the movie in a while. And also it tells you, without really having to tell you, that this is still fresh in Peggy's mind. And like you were saying, Chrissy, that she probably hasn't had a chance to truly mourn losing Steve, because as far as she knows, he's dead. She doesn't know that he's just on ice and playing capsicle for, to quote Tony Stark,
70 years.
Yeah, they'll find him in 70 years. But that it is as much as it tugs at the heartstrings to see that. It was a good way to go, here, this is where we're picking up from, and this is where Peggy is, you know, emotionally and mentally and all that. And this is what's, you know, and then it jumps right into, you know, her going off to work. And I think it's funny that her roommate thought that she worked for the phone company, because she does go to the phone company, but one of the gals that works at the phone company, I guess, is, you know, knows what's going on, and there's a secret door that leads into another part of the building, and that's where the SSR headquarters are, which is
well, it's funny because the roommate's like, oh, you know, you just work at the phone company, and Peggy's getting her purse and stuff together, but Peggy's got like a gun, and she's, you know, clicking the magazine into place and putting it all together, and I'm just like, don't you hear that clicky click sound, lady? But maybe she didn't know what a gun sounded like. I don't know.
Well, I mean, her roommate was, you know, she came home sick, and she was like, I think I have like tuberculosis or something. I'm like, I would not, obviously this was in the 40s, so they didn't, you know, the medical knowledge wasn't the same, but like nowadays, if you were in the room with somebody that had tuberculosis, you would not stay in the room. You would send them to the hospital.
Well, if you had tuberculosis, you would go to the hospital.
Yes. You wouldn't stay home and, you know, with your hot water bottle and go, oh, hopefully
maybe it was one of those things that's like, you know, nowadays people check WebMD for, you know, when they have some weird thing going on, and they're like, I've got cancer, and they're like, no, you don't.
Yeah. Like, we don't know for sure what her roommate actually had. For all we know, it was just a head cold.
Well, because later, it was just, she said, like, she just stayed home with a cold or something, and it was no big deal.
Yeah.
Made a cup of tea and called it good.
Yeah. But it was kind of funny that, you know, her roommate was so, if she was so dramatic about that, then maybe she doesn't know what a gun being loaded sounds like. So
maybe, I don't know. Although the other thing is, she's, you know, she's worked. She sounds like she worked in factories during World War II, and so I'm like, would she have encountered some of that? I mean, a lot of the women back then, they were in World War II, they were like building airplanes and tanks and things. So maybe they didn't all work with guns and stuff like that. I don't know.
Who knows?
It's a fascinating line of inquiry, but I'm kind of a nerd that way, so what do I know? So anyway, Agent Carter, awesome.
I like it.
We'll keep it around.
I'm gonna keep it.
Is there any word? Is this like just going to be a one-off thing, or are they going?
I haven't heard anything, so I honestly don't. It may be one of those. It may be a one and done. And like I said, I would think, just like, you know, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that it's probably going to be building some canon for the cinematic universe. And if you're not watching, then you may be left out of the loop. Just saying. I'm just saying, for those of y'all that aren't watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I'm just saying, in a couple of years, you're going to be really lost.
Very possibly.
Yeah. Which reminds me, I need to get caught up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes, you do.
I'm still like an episode or two behind. I should.
Well,
I got a couple months. I got a couple months.
There's time.
So, and Marvel,
up on that.
Marvel does like to play the long game. So I'm not saying that whatever happens in Agent Carter is going to tie into Age of Ultron or Ant-Man. It may, this may be something that doesn't tie in till Civil War comes out.
Yeah.
So we may be looking at a year and a half.
We're not saying that it won't.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm just I'm just saying it's probably going to tie in. Just how soon, we don't know.
Yeah. Well, this past week I picked up I've had it at the library. It was the Avengers versus X-Men comic book, and I saw it and I'm like, I'm gonna read this and just kind of dabble a little bit into the comic book universe. And what it was a storyline that it was collected from various issues, and it even listed them on the inside cover, like where they all came from, all these things. But it was like the whole story right together, and it was just it's just interesting how all that played together and how different the characters were from what the movies that I'm used to,
mm-hmm.
and in what this storyline was doing. And so, just kind of what you're talking about, how, Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. ties into the movie universe. That's just kind of how comic books are, is like, this comic book issue talks about, mentions this thing that comes up in this other story arc, but then later it comes together in this whole other thing. So it's like, you kind of have to be following both of them at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, like the movies and the TV, it's a lot easier for me to follow because first off, there's fewer of them. Second off, I can sit down and watch a movie or an episode of a TV show and totally be okay. And then on the second half, I'm kind of bummed that Marvel doesn't have the movie rights to X-Men, because I would love to see X-Men versus Avengers, or Avengers versus X-Men on the movie screen, because I'm like, that would be really, really cool. Although it wouldn't happen for quite a few years yet.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
But it's an interesting idea to think about.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, bottom line, watch Agent Carter.
Yes.
If you know what's good for you, watch Agent Carter.
Yeah.
Especially if you're somebody like me who just, loves the entire MCU and all that, and like we watched The Incredible Hulk last night, and as far as the MCU is concerned, that's my least favorite. But watching it and tweeting along with everybody, it made it a bit more tolerable. But they are important if you want to know the story. So.
It's a little bit like our phrase "any who is good who" that the Vortex Boys say. Any Marvel is good Marvel.
Yeah. Yeah. For the most part.
For the most part. Yeah.
There's exceptions, but we won't get into that. So, and then Agent Carter, ABC, it started at 8, but that's only because there were 2 episodes. But it's actually gonna be in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s time slot. So from here on out, it'll be on at 9:00 Eastern Standard Time.
So same time as Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was for the next 8 or so weeks.
Yes.
Just keep watching it, and it's on Hulu the next night if you're like me and have to watch it that way.
Yeah. So
there you go.
Yep. I'm looking forward to the next episode. And all those after.
Yeah.
Yep. If I might talk about the Broadchurch Season 2 premiere for
a hot second? Sure.
Go for it.
Broadchurch Season 2 started back up this past week. I was able to watch it online. It was good. I found out that Danny Latimer, the kid whose murder formed the basis of the first season, shared a birthday with me.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Really? He was born on my 12th birthday.
Oh.
Oh.
Because at one point he's exhumed, and they show his tombstone, and it says May 3rd, 2002, and I'm like, great. I don't know. Like,
You share a
how
birthday
am I
with a
supposed to
dead
feel
TV
about
character.
the fact that this dead kid's shares
Same birthday as you.
Pure coincidence, I'm sure. They just had to pick a birthday, and that's...
I know. And any day they picked would have been someone's, but that it was mine is kind of
morbid.
I kind of feel
So-
for because when Back to the Future 3 came out, when they were back in time with Doc Brown, his death in the past was on my birthday that many years. After my birthday, I'm like,
well, if we're talking about people dying on birthdays, Anthony Ainley died on my 14th.
oh wow.
Oh.
Yeah. But back to Broadchurch, they're going a little bit more into Sandbrook because apparently Hardy's has this house near Broadchurch, and he's taken one of the witnesses for the Sandbrook case, which is a case that he had worked on prior to the series.
Yeah.
And has been keeping her there away from her husband, who he believes is responsible for the Sandbrook, what happened in Sandbrook, but because the case fell through because of the missing pendant, the guy was never convicted.
Mhm.
So, and she had testified. So, but because he was never convicted, she's not doesn't qualify for official witness protection. So Hardy's kind of taken that on himself because of the guilt he feels for the Sandbrook case falling through.
Mm-hmm.
So, and and that's who Eve Miles is playing, is the witness that Hardy's protecting.
I see.
So, yeah, and was a huge because the guy that was responsible for Danny's death pleaded not guilty at his hearing. So there's going to be a full trial because he pleaded not guilty because he doesn't want to go to jail for it. But if he is guilty and they find that he is, he's going to go to jail anyway. And
yeah. Intrigue.
Uh-huh.
It's funny because you're talking about that. I'm like, I know exactly what you're talking about, even though I haven't watched Broadchurch, just because I know Grace Point mirrored, was almost a carbon
Mirrored
copy.
so closely,
So
yeah.
it's like, I know
You probably don't
exactly what
even
you're
need to see
talking about.
Broadchurch season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I should watch.
So.
I should probably just watch Broadchurch just so when you mention names, the right face pops into my head.
Yes. So. Yeah.
All right.
So that also happened this week.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad this stuff is on because before it was like, oh, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is on hiatus. Once Upon a Time's on hiatus. What am I gonna watch? But it's like, oh yes, I still have stuff to watch.
I have still stuff. Agent Carter's on. The Librarians is taken. It's given me my Once Upon a Time Sunday night whimsy.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. Although I watched, I got caught up on the fairy tale episode of The Librarians, and then right after watched an episode of Elementary, I'm like, this does not have magic. This does not have magic.
This isn't magic.
Like, there is not a magical explanation for what is happening in Elementary. I had to remind, I queued it up, and I'm like, okay, remember, this does not have magic. I've done that before. So, it's not something I recommend. Watching a show that's magic heavy and then one that's completely grounded in the real world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that because I'm like, but wait, what did? Oh, wait.
Yeah. So you're saying I shouldn't watch a David Tennant episode of Doctor Who and then watch Broadchurch?
Let's just go jump the TARDIS. Nope, that's not gonna work.
No TARDIS or sonic screwdriver to be found.
Yeah.
I
What's wrong with this?
You might see an Easter egg of that.
Yeah. Well, there are some Easter eggs. I know. I think I shared that on our Facebook page. The producer or whatever had posted a shot of some missed calls slips on Hardy's desk, and there was a call from Donna and a call from
I think that was on Grace
Martha.
Point. And it was Emmett Carver.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was Grace Point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like Rose was
the props people on Grace Point.
Put little Doctor Who Easter eggs in there that you'll never see.
I think David Tennant took the picture and showed it to Chris Chibnall, who posted it.
Or didn't he? I thought David Tennant wrote those out on the thing.
I heard he didn't.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was
took the picture.
Fandom rumors are nefarious things.
Indeed.
Yes, he did, but I heard that he didn't actually. So.
Either way, there's nice little nods to Doctor Who and David's other stuff. So.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unless we have anything else.
I don't think so. The only thing I wanted to mention was Broadchurch.
Yeah. Cool. So, and of course, we're still doing Marvel with Friends. We just, like we mentioned already. We did the Incredible Hulk last night. So in 2 weeks, we're doing Iron Man 2. So I'm very looking forward to that. I love Iron Man 2.
And
I do too.
For the Traveling the Vortex book club, I'm going to be reviewing The Blood Cell.
Oh, I got that one too because I saw it at my library. So
yeah, I picked it up when I was a little while back on Christmas money.
Now, The Blood Cell, that's a 12th Doctor novel?
It's the 12th Doctor.
Okay. I knew that the title sounded familiar. That's in my
it's one of the new
ones.
you published.
Okay.
Can I go back to the Grace Point thing with the Doctor Who Easter eggs?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I just found the picture, and it's actually the three. There was one from R. Taylor. And the message was something regarding a wolf.
Yes.
And then Martha Jones has information about Sally Sparrow. And then Dean Noble, information regarding the library.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So. Such a fun little I love when they do stuff like that.
Me too.
And then they make sure to point it out, because they know that you'll never see it.
Mm-hmm.
But they make sure to point it out regardless. So, like, oh, that's so cute. I love stuff like that. It's one of the things I love about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is there's all those little, if you know, then you're like, oh, it's that thing or that person or that nod to that thing, or it's a reference to that thing. And if you don't, then you're not missing anything. But if you do, if you get it, then you're like, oh, it just makes it so much better. So,
yeah.
It's fun with us doing the Marvel with Friends that we're getting that, and we're seeing, especially for the ones I haven't watched in a while. It's fun seeing the puzzle pieces come together now that it's from Avengers back. Looking at how it all plays and fits together. It's like, oh, this is fun. So. Have I mentioned I'm a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
A couple of times. But that's okay, we all are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh. Oh.
So, go Marvel.
Yay. Yep, go Marvel.
Anyway.
So, feel free to join us in a couple weeks. What was that? The 27th? Is that right?
27th, yes.
27th? Iron Man 2?
No,
And
not
24th.
no.
24th.
24.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the
Good
27th.
news. It looks like I'm going to be able to get that one from my library, so I don't have to worry about my stream messing up.
Yeah.
Like
I own them all the way from here on out. Oh, I actually had that day off, so I can definitely make that one.
Yay!
Yay!
Even
Just
better.
checking my schedule because I missed the last two. The only reason I missed the last one is because I couldn't get Incredible Hulk because I don't own that one.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I tried on the internet and it was just didn't work because the stream was like it was buffering a lot and twice the tab I had closed and then reopened, so then I lost the place.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
So after the second time that the tab closed itself, I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
I give up.
I remember seeing your tweet. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna go watch something else.
Well, I went to take a shower because I needed to take a shower last night.
Well, it's no fun when you're watching something and then all of a sudden it stops to buffer.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what happened to me with
Which is
Pandemic last week.
Which is why I'm going to try and get see if I can get DVDs from here on out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or downloads. You can probably rent them.
I could. I'll probably
like off iTunes or Amazon or something.
Something. Well, iTunes is probably a good option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably look into that for future ones if I can't get the DVD.
Yeah. Alrighty then. Well, if we don't have anything else, then I guess we'll sign off for this week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, do we need to say our?
Oh yeah, so if you find all our contact stuff at the 5ish Fangirls podcast.blogspot.com. That's where you can find our pertinent info, and the Marvel with Friends schedule is on there as well.
And the galley ribbons have been ordered.
Yep. So
cool.
So.
Sorry, I just had to pop in with that one.
No.
Anyway.
Oh.
Although, I will warn anyone who might be going to Galley and seeing me there that I possibly won't have them at LobbyCon on Thursday because Sean sent me a message on Facebook saying that he and Mel are probably going to have to work that day and will be coming in later and missing most of LobbyCon, and he's going to have my ribbons because...
It was better to ship them to him than to you.
It is possible to ship them to Canada, but it costs like 4 times as much.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So I figured just send them to Sean. He can give them to me when we meet at Galley.
Yes. That's smart thinking.
So I most likely will not have the ribbons at LobbyCon, but the rest of the weekend I will.
Yeah. So if you see Mitch at LobbyCon, make sure to introduce yourself.
I can give you
and find her later.
Cards.
And then, yeah.
5ish Fangirls business cards, but no ribbons.
Yeah.
Find her later for the ribbons.
Yes.
Yeah, find me Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whenever for ribbons.
Yep.
There you go. Okay, now we can.
now.
Housekeeping. We gotta make sure everything gets covered. So.
Yep.
If we forget, it's a long time until we record again. It's a long week.
We'll post it on Facebook
or
tweet it out or something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, all right. Now, with that, we will sign off until next week.
This is Brittany and Pompeo saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City saying good evening.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
This is Mitch saying goodnight from Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Good night, everyone. been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.